At Pan M360, I am with Bria Salmena, who's exploring many types of music from americana, country to post-punk, which is a very interesting blend. It's not the first time, Bria, that we see the punk influence on country music or americana, and you're one of the new artist or the emerging artist, or maybe more than emerging because we know you through other projects that are exploring those different materials and blending them.
Mhm.
So how did that happen?
I guess it happened pretty organically. I think it's kind of like a natural thing to want to explore your interests. I've had an interest in musically. I listen to all sorts of music from punk to country. I listen to a lot of classical music as well, but I'm not going to go try and do that necessarily. But yeah, I think Duncan and I, who's my creative partner, um, during the pandemic, we wanted to cover a bunch of country songs. We were playing with Orville Peck at the time and thought that that would be a easy, fun thing to do during a very kind of otherwise boring period. Um, so we did that, and now kind of moving forward into the next year, we've recorded an album of original material that I think is a fusing of a lot of influences. There's not a whole lot of country in there, I'm going to be honest with you, but I think we kind of did that exploration with country covers, and now we're excited to do something else. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's just, it can happen pretty easily when you listen to all sorts of different stuff and you can't decide what kind of music you want to make sometimes.
Hmm. You were involved in FRIGS with Duncan Hay Jennings. You're, as you describe him, as your creative partner.
Hmm.
And can you also describe this relationship, this professional and creative relationships through the years and where you're at now? Well, we know that you, as you just mentioned, you released Country Covers Volume 1 and 2 during the pandemic, just after. Well,
Hmm.
you created that during the pandemic and after it became albums. And now you're with Sub Pop as a solo artist, and you
Hmm.
also still work with Duncan.
Yeah. Yeah. Duncan and I actually met when we were 19. We were both students living in Montreal at the time, actually.
Oh, yeah.
We both attended Concordia University. And yeah, we just we're best friends, and we have been playing music together for a very long time. I think um, him and I just have a really good kind of understanding of each other's tastes and working styles. Um, when we were recording this last record that's coming out next year, I live in Los Angeles now, so, and he lives in Toronto, so we were kind of exploring this like long distance creative relationship where we would be sending stuff back and forth to one another. And I think because we've known each other so long, there's this ability to kind of, um, there's a lot of unspoken kind of creative process that happens. We're all send him demos. I won't really say anything, and he'll send them back with like a new texture added, a new overdub, and we kind of just work that way. And I think we just have a really good understanding of each other's styles and preferences, and we can both hear something. It either goes two ways, like we both hear a demo and it goes, we have the same understanding of it and how we want to proceed, or there's been times where I sent him something not really with a clear idea of anything that could take off from it, and he has this ability to hear it completely differently. So I think in that way we can work really well with one another. We bring out a lot of different elements and how we work, and you know, we can hear different things. I'm kind of been focusing more on like vocal delivery and lyrics and melody, and he's kind of really digging into this, like creating this instrumental world for everything. So we have a really good balance now.
Excellent. So, if I understand, you attended Concordia University, you studied here, and
Hmm.
after you moved to Toronto, and now you're in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, is it does does it have something to do with your signature at Sub Pop?
No,
Mhm.
I no, I moved to Los Angeles in the fall of 2022. It's just something that I wanted to try. At that time, Duncan and I were both still working with Orville Peck, and a lot of the work with him was based out of LA, and it just kind of makes sense to skip the winter every once in a while, you know, and live in Southern California for a bit.
And about it, do you still enjoy to be on the West Coast in California?
Yeah, for sure. I've been in Toronto for the past couple of months just doing some other work, but California is great. There's a lot of fun things about it. There's a lot of not so fun things about living in America, as you could imagine.
No.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
But I do love Montreal and Toronto, and I think honestly, I think if I ever did kind of move back to Canada, it would be Montreal over Toronto. So there you go.
I agree. Well,
Uh,
Toronto is really cool, but Montreal is very special too. So,
of course, yeah.
and it's those cities are we can consider them as safe space
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, California also is a safe space if we see what they voted for.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, well, it's very early, but
Mhm.
we're going through a long dark period, anyways.
Mhm.
Um, And about being well, having a contract with Sub Pop, is it a big deal for you? How do you see it? You know, we know Sub Pop for you since the 90s because
Mhm.
of the Seattle thing, but now is it still prestigious for you? Do you think what do you think about this deal?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough to be able to work with them when I was working with Orville Peck. His first record, Pony, came out on Sub Pop. And I mean, at that point, I think it felt really crazy because that project was just so new, and to be signed to such kind of like a legendary American label as a Canadian project felt really, really cool. Um, and I was lucky enough that when we had done country covers, my manager reached out to friends at Sub Pop just to ask for some, I think like A&R people, because we were going to self-release. And our friend Nick, who works at Sub Pop, was like, "What are you releasing?" And then they were stoked on the project and wanted to sign me as a solo artist. And yeah, I just feel really like grateful. I know it's really difficult. I think I know a lot of people who release music independently, and I know it's really difficult not to have that kind of like support and that team who like believe in you and can help push you forward. They're great. Everybody there is super nice. Yeah, and I think having that kind of like American team can be really useful. And yeah, it's fucking cool as hell. I just genuinely feel quite grateful that they're still
Mhm.
into what I'm doing. So
Yes, I see. So you released a single called "Bending Over Backwards"
mhm.
quite recently, and what is the agenda for what is the following of this?
Yeah. Yeah, Bending Over Backwards was that song is really old. It's like probably about 3.5 years old, maybe older. And Duncan and I decided to leave the Orville Peck band in the spring because we wanted to focus on our solo project. And we kind of were sitting on Bending Over Backwards. It wasn't on the record. Like we had recorded it before the record that we recorded that will be out next
Mhm.
year. And we just thought, let's just release this now as kind of like a little taste of things to come. The music video was 2.5 years old, so it had been kind of like sitting waiting for so long, and we wanted to wait for the right time. Releasing a digital single on its own, it doesn't carry a whole lot of weight, I think. So we just wanted to be a little bit strategic. But I think Bending Over Backwards is a good kind of foreshadowing into the sound of the record for next year.
So that's a very clear appeal about the next sound.
Yeah, we're like, you know, country covers was really fun, and it was extremely like beneficial creatively for us to do that and like learn how to reimagine songs. And I think in doing that, we kind of like we were pulling out this kind of original sound of ourselves. Essentially, we had to figure out what like I was as a solo artist, what I sounded like, and that feels really daunting, especially as you said, coming from all sorts of like different musical backgrounds and having played in all sorts of different projects. Like I, as an artist, really value having like that kind of variety. I don't always want to play country. Like sometimes I want to like play techno music, like, you know, and create like whatever the fuck I
Yeah.
want to do. So it just I feel better if I can be like able to express that way. So it took some time, and I think country covers pulled a lot of that out of us. So yeah, it is indicative of what's to come, I guess.
Yes, and also among your experiences, this Orville Peck cycle was very nourishing for you, I suppose.
Yeah, I think like we learned a lot playing in that project. It was a really like amazing experience. We worked with a lot of amazing people. It was fun, you know, when we started with that project, 'cause it just kind of took off in this way that we had never experienced, and we didn't think we were going to experience necessarily. And yeah, it was cool to kind of do that again. Learned a lot about just also playing in a band. I was, you know, not the front person, which I had been doing forever. So that was kind of nice to just like play guitar and fuck off and not have to like worry about that kind of shit.
Hmm.
But yeah, but again, like things have cycles and stuff, and you can only do something for so long before it feels like you're ready to take on the next kind of challenge, I guess.
Excellent. Well, for Montreal, the next challenge is Saturday night at Let's Go.
Yeah.
Who's going to be with you?
Duncan will be with me. Jamie McQuaig, who has played with us in the past, will also be there. And Lucas Savati, who's the bass player of FRIGS, is joining us as well.
Excellent. So it's a quartet.
We're a quartet, yeah.
Excellent. Quartet in a very cool bar. Let's Go is a sort of, you know, obviously Let's
Oh
Go
yeah.
because it was there while you were studying.
Yeah, I mean, I've played there, I think, before renovation and after renovation. I'm
Oh yeah,
I'm
so
looking forward to
you're
it.
aware of this place, this venue.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Bria, I thank you very much for this our first conversation on Pan Am 360 is gonna be online, of course, before your show on Saturday,
Right.
and I'm sure it won't be the last of our conversations. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.